Hey, Kelly here. Today I want to highlight the idea that classical violin etudes make for terrific guitar exercises. Today I've got an example I want to show you from a composer named Schradieck. And it's a really cool, very short little etude designed for violin that we're going to break down, transpose to the guitar, and I'll show you all the cool little goodies that are involved in this tiny little exercise that I think you're going to dig. So let's check it out. Okay, let's break this down one chunk at a time. The first part goes like this. Now what we have is F to G on the A string. So I'm on the 5th string. I'm going between frets 8 and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So essentially, you're going to start like that. Now that is essentially a trill, right? When you have two notes that go back and forth rapidly, something like that, we would think of that as a trill. But this is technically a picked trill. So if you're thinking in terms of exercise benefit, actually playing a picked trill like that can be tricky. It's one thing to do it with just your left hand in a legato style, right? But to be able to actually match it up with your picking hand is a totally different matter. So right off the bat, a cool benefit from this exercise is you get to practice your left and right hand synchronicity in its most basic form, a trill. And after 5 of those, we're going to play F to A. So we're going to do the 8th fret to the 12th fret on the 5th string. And here we outline an F major arpeggio. F, A. We're going to grab the 10th fret on the 4th string, which is C, and we're going to go between C and the A at the 12th fret 2 times. And if you put all this together, you have the first part. So for the next part, we're going to start by climbing up F, G, and A on the 5th string. That'll be 8, 10, 12. Then we're going to grab the 10 on the 4th string. Now this is actually the reason why I did that trill with my middle finger at the beginning. Remember I said I was going to use that finger instead? It's because after that, we're going to launch into a 4-note grouping like that, which is much more comfortable than using the ring finger, for me anyway. Okay, now after that group of 4, we're literally going to mimic that up an octave. So we're going to go to the octave of F, which would be 3rd string, 10th fret, and we're going to connect the same group of notes, and it's going to look like this. 10, 12, and 14 on the 3rd string, giving us again F, G, and A. But this time it'll be the ring finger that grabs the note on the 2nd string, 13th fret for the C there. So same 4 notes as it was down here, just up an octave. And that one finger change, middle finger there, ring finger there, that's going to be something to watch out for. Okay, now the final part of this is going to be a giant F major arpeggio, descending primarily, and I would say kind of disjointed. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. We're going to jump to the 1st string, 13th fret on the 1st string. 1st finger, 13, 17, 13. Then we're going back to the 13 on the 2nd string with the ring finger. The temptation is to maybe roll the index finger to the 13. That might seem initially the easiest way to do that, but you're going to find that with the overall goal of getting back to the original position down here, it's going to make more sense to try to calibrate the fingering to go that way. So I'm going to jump to the ring finger for that. That's going to allow me to grab 14 and 10 on the 3rd string for the A and the F. And finally, 10 on the 4th string, middle finger. So again, I'm not using a roll here. I'm going to jump to the middle finger so that my pinky can grab 12 on the 5th And that places my index finger back at home, back to the beginning of the entire lick. So here's part 2. And every roll, we've basically eliminated every roll that we could have had and replace it with a quick shift and a finger jump. And your goal is to make these position shifts transparent, meaning if there was someone listening to you, they wouldn't know that you were doing these shifts down the neck. Right? You don't want to hear or something like that. You want to make them transparent. Now that, by the way, is going to exercise a different part of your technique where you are going to perform shifts using your arm. That might seem obvious to some people, but I know some people will try to do this. They'll try to move a finger in, like they'll try to encroach their hand to get that note. And I'm going to tell you now that if you try to do that, it's going to be just like your hand's going to cramp and then open and cramp. If you do it as an arm move, notice that your hand is allowed to remain open. My fingers don't move very much. Everything's done with the arm when it comes to the bigger jumps. Okay, and that's it. That's the whole thing broken up. Here it is again, half at a time. There it is. So check that out. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this whole idea of translating and transposing violin etudes onto guitar, I'm happy to do more. In fact, that composer, Henry Schradieck, has got some killer stuff out of a book called The School of Violin Techniques, which is what I've been extracting this stuff from and transposing it to guitar. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and because of that, I thought you guys would probably get a kick out of it. And what a neat way to spend a few minutes working on your technique with something that actually sounds pretty enjoyable, I think. It's certainly not your typical boring guitar exercise that we all have played before. So anyway, check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will catch you in the next one.